Right, today we're looking at serving the centre section of a longbow string. You need a serving to protect the string from wearing where it hits your bracer, also to provide a very good fit for your arrow, for the knock of the arrow. You'll need to serve it obviously if you're making your own bow strings, or if you've got an old string and the serving has frayed, coming apart, you might need to reserve it. Very simple tools needed. A serving tool like this particular one, a spool of thread on a spool that goes into the tool. I'll show you how to fit that in a minute. We use a bracing height gauge just to gauge the actual position of the serving on the string, a pair of scissors for cutting the string off, and really that's about it. Right, the serving tool, take it out of its packet, and you need to fit the spool of serving thread to it. There are instructions provided with these, and you take the nut off the end and then pull that through. Take one of the washers out, put the thread through. Right, I've put the spool into the tool and I've put one of the rubber washers inside. It just gives a bit of friction when you're running the spool off and running the thread from it. It just helps get a good tension on the string. So put the rod through, right the way through, that slots into there. And then on the other end there's a metal washer and the wing nut. Put that on. Tighten the two up. And put a certain amount of tension on. And then if you look at the tool, there are a number of arrows on there indicating the way that the thread must go through the tool. So I'll pull this through the other side and we'll start putting it through the correct way. So you need the spool so that the thread comes over the top of the spool and then through the first hole indicated by the arrow. So through there, grab the end of the thread if you can, pull it through, turn the tool round, look for the next arrow, which is across to the right in this case. Put the thread through, pull it through, look now for the next arrow, which is up. Turn it round, look the other side again. Sorry, can't see this very well. And then back down through the hole there. Pull it through. And then it needs to go up through the hole in the top of the tool. That comes up and out. Pull that through. And then you're ready then to start serving. I'm going to start serving the string now. I usually rub a little bit of beeswax over where the serving's going to go. It's not essential to do that because the string is waxed anyway. It's just something I tend to do. We need the bracing height gauge because we need to judge where the serving is going to start. So I put the bracing height gauge on, line up where the knocking point would be, which is down that line, and then we need to be far enough above the knocking point to get your fingers on the string, onto the served area of the string. So we need to go far enough up, not too far. So I normally use the bracing height gauge as a gauge and go up about an inch above it and start serving. So that gives me my start point. I take about an inch of thread, just lay it onto the string, hold it down with my thumb, take the gauge away, just wind that up a little bit so that we don't have too much dangling around, and then by hand just wind the serving thread over that length I've laid on the string, just holding it down gently to start with, and then a bit more pressure as you go further along. So that's holding that end down so that the serving doesn't start to come off the string when it's in use. so that's okay. Now I just wind the spool up to get it right tight against the string, and you can now start serving by literally spinning the tool. You've got to now adjust the tension a little bit by turning the wing nut so that the tension is sufficient, not too tight, not too loose. It's too tight at the moment because I can feel it actually twisting the string. So I'll drop it back a little bit more until it feels just about right. And then you can start spinning it just like that. And as you spin it, the thread comes off onto the string very neatly. You could actually do all this by hand, but it would take a long time, and it's much neater and better doing it this way. If you feel that the string is starting to twist, if you just pull the thread out a bit, just let the string turn back and then tighten it back up again. If the string does start to twist, you might lose some of the actual twists you've put into the string at the ends when you've made the string using the Flemish laid-in method. So we now continue going down. You need to hold the string firmly with your left hand to make sure it doesn't twist. And we put about 8 inches of serving on the string. That's quite sufficient, gives enough to get your hand on where the arrow is going to rest, and enough length so that rubbing against your bracer it rubs the serving rather than wearing the string, which is the object of the exercise. Getting close to probably what is about 8 inches. It's pulling a bit tight again, so I'll just relax it. Just do the last little bit now. So that brings it down just below the handle, and that's as far as I'm going to go. So I now need to pull out a length of thread, and with the scissors just cut that off, tying it off so that it doesn't come unraveled. The best way to do this is to hold the thread up, put your thumb through it so you're forming a large loop. Bring the thread back down onto the string and then pull it through that loop, and I usually do this about 14 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we've now got a loop and we've got a spare end. Now the spare end, take up the string and over the serving, and then hold the loop with your other hand and then wind off those turns you've put on back onto the string, keeping it tight. And then the spare end that you've got, we'll pull that, and that pulls the loop through, keeping your finger on the loop. That goes right up, and then that pulls tight. So that thread is now caught under those 14 turns we put on it. Pair of scissors and just snip off like that, and you're done.